Hi, this is Lynn, and welcome to another Persuasion Byte, bite-sized tips on persuasion that you can use right away. We've all heard of the law of unintended consequences. Basically, we make a decision and something comes up that we hadn't considered in advance. And usually that something is negative. Here's a recent example in Chicago, where I live. The Chicago Institute of Art, wonderful museum, recently decided that it needed to do a better job of employing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as part of this, took a look at its docent program. So these are the people who volunteer their time to take groups and others through the museum, explaining the different types of artwork to them. And these people go through rigorous training and ongoing updates so they can stay current on what's going on in the museum. As the museum leaders took a look at this group, they realized that it was almost exclusively composed of white, retired women of means, which means it did not reflect the local Chicago community. Obviously, it wanted to change that. What did it do? It fired them all. All of the docents were told, thanks for your service, many 15 plus years of service, and we're going to give you 2 years of free admission to the museum as our thanks. All right, so what happened? All of these people who'd been serving the museum for years now are suddenly thanks but no thanks. And all of the wisdom that they had and the information that they had shared with people, now gone. Plus, who's going to take groups of people through the museum? Nobody. So the goal of diversity, equity, and inclusion, as wonderful as it was, now shoots the museum's goal in the foot of wanting to welcome people in and help them to understand the artwork that's there. How do we avoid making these kinds of decisions in our businesses and in our organizations? Think of it this way. Start with asking the question, what's the goal? Well, in this case, the goal was we want to have our docents reflect the community that they're serving. Good goal. Second question you ask is, what are our alternatives to get there? And I'm sure there were many different things they could have considered. Third question, what are the repercussions of each of these alternatives? Because obviously, firing all the docents was one alternative, and they didn't think about the repercussions there. Plus, there's another repercussion of the retired women of means who have been serving as docents are also a primary donor base. And they've just alienated a bunch of them. And if I had a friend who was a docent who was summarily dismissed, I might consider not donating to the museum anymore because of how they treated my friend. Another alternative would have been, all right, if we want to welcome other people in as docents, how do we do outreach to those people and transition over time and continue to tap the people who are currently docents so that they can train in the new ones? After we've taken a look at all the consequences of all of the alternatives that we have, a lot of things will self-select out. The idea of firing all the docents should have been one of those. And as we look at the other alternatives, then we can make a better decision. And frankly, we can also review that decision later to see if something has come up and if we do need to tweak our approach. The scoop is a lot of times we make decisions based on short-term ideas and don't take a look at the unintended consequences, which oftentimes are longer term. Ask those questions every time you have a decision that's important. Take your team through the process of evaluating what makes the most sense and what's going to ultimately end up hurting us more than helping us. And when you can do that, you become the most persuasive person in the room. Thanks for watching.